They cannot allow a voice like me, artist, to be cynical, to be humorous, and to be critical. For them, this is a very big danger. But I don't think there's an intention to make it better. I think the people who suffers will continue to suffer.
Do you think about legacy?
Weiwei is one of the world's most influential contemporary artists today. His work has transcended the worlds of museums and art galleries, as the Chinese artist uses different mediums to express his craft. He's been dubbed an artistic genius, an activist, a provocateur, and a dissident. In this episode of Real Talk, we met up with the visionary artist in Cambridge to ask him about how he sees his place in the world, his activism, and his legacy for the years to come.
Hi, Weiwei. Welcome to Real Talk. It's a pleasure to have you. It's a pleasure to speak to you today. Correct me if I'm wrong on this one, because you are quite known, of course, for your art, but also for your activism. But artists don't really like to have their creation be labeled as activism. Am I correct?
Which is true.
It's true. Okay.
Yeah, people always think, oh, that is dangerous. Artists, normally they want to say they're doing pure art, So I don't understand what is pure art. I think we respond to life. I clearly say if an artist is not an activist, is a dead artist.
Is a dead artist.
It's true. And if your art still have anything related to humans, feeling, compassion, and you have to be activist.
Yeah, because you'll have some artists that will say, I just want my art to be taken for what it is. It's not political, it's not this, it's not that. It's just my expression. But you disagree.
I disagree because for artists to say their art has nothing to do with political struggle, that statement is a very political statement. Not trying to isolate our humanity and our judgment and to separate is a real struggle.
Well, I'll take it a step back because you mentioned your childhood in China. The period that you spent in New York City is often credited as the period that has mostly influenced your artistic experience or your artistic passion. But if we actually go back to your upbringing in China, so you were born to exiled parents, your father was a famous poet, you lived in Xinjiang, and your father was basically I Ching. He was banned from practicing his poetry, practicing his art for 20 years. That must have had some influence on you, seeing that your father, who was such a famous poet, unable to practice his art. How did that influence your art for how you became an artist today?
Thank you for giving this very brave assumption, but it's very correct. The year I was born, 1957, my father was criticized as a rightist, but he's a poet. He's the national poet with the highest position in Chinese literature world. And he is exiled for 20 years. His experience, which I grew up with, but I never really become meaningful to me. But I deeply understand how horribly an intellectual can survive in an authoritarian society. He could sacrifice everything, his life. I will never be here today to standing under the sunshine or speak freely. So freedom of speech becomes a core value of my expression. We have to protect freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is not about you have to have a political statement, but rather to have an independent voice, to have a very individual perspective. They cannot allow a voice like me, artist, to be cynical, to be humorous, and to be critical. For them, this is a very big danger. Actually, I always say, from your enemy's eyes, you see your own power.
From your enemy's eyes, you see your own power.
Yes,
Yeah.
because how they look at you.
Right.
Otherwise, they should just ignore me.
Sure.
You know.
Because you're one man.
Yes.
We'll go have a seat now. So one issue that you've been very outspoken about has been the plight of refugees, right? You've made art about it. You've made a documentary about it, Human Flow. And I just want to ask, what made this issue for you so important and for you to be so outspoken about it?
Well, I guess from early experience, my father was exiled, and so the life, very often people will not even know what it's like. So I said, I have to make a film about this. I want to know what's it like on the other side of the shore. So we went to Turkey, then we went to
Several countries.
Yeah, many, 23 countries.
Yeah.
40 camps,
Wow.
big camps.
And the film, Human Flow, it was an effort to, first of all, humanize refugees, but also show the global urgency of displacement. Now, it's been 6 years since the release of that film. What kind of impact do you think it had?
Sorry to say this, no impact at all.
No impact at all.
No impact, zero impact. On the personal level, I experienced the global refugee crisis, and maybe I know more than almost anybody because I really had a very close contact with those people. I have to say, the situation even is so bad or is getting worse, but I don't think there's an intention to make it better.
There's no intention.
Yeah, I think the people who suffers will continue to suffer, and in general, people just don't care.
You've been heavily critical of the West in terms of how, specifically the European countries or the European Union has been dealing with the refugee situation.
It's not I want to criticize them, it's really they deserve criticizing because they should be ashamed the way they're dealing with those unfortunate people. And also, not to even to say why those people become refugees. If we look at history, the West really have to pay a great depth about the instability of those world and what they created from the colonial history to the modern or globalization, and made many nations people are very hard to survive.
Do you think do you have an answer? Do you have a way forward? Do you have a plan?
I do have answer, but that answer is very simple. We have to respect humanity, respect life, and as a priority before the profit. And that is very practical because that kind of selfishness policy would not last. It will create more disasters. And we have to understand we are all on same boat. And you cannot see just a few people dropped off into the ocean. But eventually, we have to survive together.
We are here in another new spot around campus where we're going to talk a little bit of, maybe a little bit of politics and a few more things. But please, have a seat. In the beginning of the episode, we touched briefly on the troubles you've had with the Chinese government. But, what if we just take a simple approach to this? Why are you considered a dangerous man to the Chinese government? One man, an artist.
Well, first, I think a society, basically, they call themselves a communist society, which is not exactly communist. It's really China has been an authoritarian society since 2,000, 3,000 years ago. This is the only way they believe the power under the state and the people should all mind their own business. They basically crushed all the intellectuals during the past 70, 80 years to put their in miserable life. The purpose is not to have their voice, so they make sure every of them are disappeared and punished, and the whole nation being re-educated. I would be one of the single cases still think this is not good for the people. So, of course, as artist, I have my expressions, and I have to find a way to speak out. Even it's extremely difficult, but I still think that's my duty.
Is it because that you're someone, because China is, you know, is such a regulated society, and you come along with irregular thoughts? Is that the threat?
Not just for a short moment. Between 2000 to 2009, China have learned how to control the internet. And before that, they trying to control, but they don't know how to control.
And you found a home on the internet before
Yes,
that.
I found that gap.
Yeah.
So I've been very,
Loophole.
yeah, I have been totally involved, 24 hours a day on the internet for only about 3-4 years. Then I completely disappeared. Not only my voice, but even I literally being kidnapped by the state for 81 days. I always think why they think I'm so dangerous. They think I could be a person who would initiate something like a Jasmine Revolution happening in Middle East. With me,
Can you spark a revolution in China? Do you believe you have that much influence?
I was very naive. I have a very bad. I cannot evaluate danger that well. I think I did everything in the open, under the sunshine, you know. So, but give me some time. If they give me 3 years, I can make a society real change.
Another point that you've criticized the West on, you say that the West is too weak to stand up to China. And it's because of a number of things. It's because of the climate crisis, because of the refugee crisis, because of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and among other reasons. Do you still believe that today?
So you have to look at things more profoundly. Now, West become nervous because they are so much based on how to make a profit for the society. And China is very different. China is a society who has no opposition party or opposition groups or religion, different religion. So they have a longer plan and a better strategy. You play a very different game, the West and China. Now what they worried about is losing the market, labor market or under-consuming market, because China is too big to be ignored. And it's very efficient. Everybody willing to work. And not like the West, everybody trying to get a vacation. So it's very different mentality.
Different mentalities.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think about legacy? Does that cross your mind?
No.
No.
I would say I don't. I'm sure even I worry about it, I still will be forgotten, just like a wind blow of.
I think that will be hard. I think that will be hard to do.
Some dust, but still, I only worried about if I'm still alive. My life should serve some purpose, and I hope that can help other people too.
Is that how would you like to be remembered?
I think people have a very short memory. I don't even remember so many things. So I think that's too luxury even to think about.
You know, when you go on YouTube, you'll find, you know, lots and lots of videos of you and clips and all that, and it's always titled like Ai Weiwei's advice on art, or Ai Weiwei's advice on life, or Ai Weiwei's advice on whatever subject it is. So I'm curious, and it's because you're known for so many things. When young people approach you for advice, what do they ask?
Normally, they're worried about their career and the success, and that's normally young people. When I was in the 20s, 30s, I think it's the most miserable time because you're very confused, and you don't know exactly who you are, and it will take a long time to find out. And to find out, I think one suggestion is to travel, to go to the location you would never
To travel.
imagine, you know, to go to a place, have different language, different religion, and a different lifestyle. That is always important. You know, we need a perspective, and we need to understand the way we are living is not always the same.
Do you feel like there's anything you haven't achieved yet? Like, is there another mountain or a new mountain that you haven't climbed that you'd like to climb?
There's a mountain I always wanted to climb and achieve is I have to lose some weight. It's so difficult.
You look great.
No, it's very difficult, extremely difficult, because I always think not just my weight. I think if I cannot even control that, how can I criticize a country or government? It must be much more complicated than just an individual trying to behave better, you know, to give yourself some exercise, enough rest, yeah, and meet right people, you know, because you have to choose and to, yeah, it's not easy.
It's not easy. It's not easy. Choosing the right people is not easy, I'll tell you that much. But you do look great. You do look great. You know, I had so much fun. It was such a privilege to speak to you. Thank you for coming on today. And just before we end it off, I mean, I'm hoping that we can take a selfie together, that you take.
I love to do that.
So it's a piece of art. So it's a piece of
I
Ai
would
Weiwei
not
art.
let you go if I didn't do it.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to do right now. I'm just going to, there we go.
Yeah.
The phone is all yours.
That's nice.
I'm right here.
Okay, I will make you look better.
Yeah,
So
please make me look better.
Take a few. Even it's difficult to make you look better, but
Thank you, sir.
take care.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you so much. Pleasure. Pleasure.